Probably I would recommend for people to go to the internet and search the great philosophers and what they said thousands of years ago about this practice of eating animals. Check out Porphyry, Plutarch, Ovid, Pythagoras, and that should do it. But all of them, every single one of them were vegetarian. There was not one who worked in the temples who ate the flesh of meat. The sacrifices that were given and etc., etc., these were not literal sacrifices. Literal sacrifices did actually happen, but this was with the aberration of the fall of man and the loss of consciousness. But certainly Porphyry and Plutarch, if you look in the on the net, there's some great vegetarian articles from these two great philosophers. And in fact, Porphyry wrote a whole treatise on animal eating and how harmful it can be to the flesh. The animal chakras are the ones below the heart. And most of humanity are stuck there through eating animals. Animals, when you eat animals, you have more rage than vegetarians. And hence, it's strongly encouraged to eat pork and all of these animals which are more unhealthy for human consumption. And the armies of the world, are stuffed with pork, a lot of pork. The American soldiers that fight and kill for Halliburton and Blackwater and all these corporations, they get a lot of pork because this will give them, a condition of rabies, which is anger and hatred and animalistic viciousness. These young men and women have not reached the heart chakra. Remember in Revelation it speaks about the lamb and the lion who are worthy to open the seven seals. Well, that's because, first of all, your journey begins at the heart chakra, the lion, and it ends at the lamb chakra, Aries, the crown chakra. And they are worthy because that's where you want to live, between the heart and the head. And so eating animals is anything to do with shedding blood. The soul is in the blood. Anima means soul. When you shed their blood and you eat their carcasses, you are a carcass cruncher. That's what the philosophers call them, carcass crunchers, the crunchers of death. And there's no life in dead carcass. There is the shedding of blood only. And those souls, Porphyry says, the animals that scream just because they are unintelligible does not mean they are not screaming to you, why do you have to eat me, which you cannot transmute, when you have other better food, fruits of all kinds of aroma and flavour, aromatic vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains? Why do you have to do this to me? Why? I want to live. Yep, it's all kinds of murder. Humans have been trained to think that we are animal eaters by the elites. They know that we're not. We're vegetarian. We don't have the intestines to cope with meat. They're too long. They're not short enough. There should be short intestines for meat-eating animals. We are not meat eaters. There is nothing that suggests that we should eat meat. This is what the elites have been doing to choke us with the vibration of death so that we do not come to life. We cannot know the true life. It's already here. Paradise and heaven is a condition on earth, just as hell is. You hear people saying heaven on earth, and you hear them saying hell on earth. That's because that's where it is. Earth is ether. It's an anagram for ether. Eartha, ether. Just like Kether is the opposite of Malkuth, foundation. Kether is ether. And so they are one and the same thing. Heaven is a condition, and we can find it by not murdering, not killing, not destroying anything. When we destroy vegetation, they also scream, but they scream with joy because they know that raw vegetables are able to be assimilated in the human body. Animals cannot, so it's waste. It's a total waste of life. Sure, it might be delicious to have condiments and oils and all sorts of flavors and herbs on a steak. I don't think so, but some people do. They lick their lips and they think, oh, a nice steak with some vegetables. And sure, but it is totally and utterly, the only benefit is the seeming benefit to the palate. And the palate is controlling all of human life. They are gluttonous. They love to eat flesh and death, and they love to stuff their faces and their stomachs. Their paunch is their god, and they do not know the higher chakras. We are not of this kind, friends. We will never partake in that kind of slaughter. Take away the S from slaughter and you get laughter. Simply why? Because when you stop slaughtering, then you will find the laughter.